There were beefs and there were battles about position and who should cross the line into where we lived and cross the line into where they lived, you see. And I must say there were many times when I had to go on an errand.
Frank Sinatra is considered one of the greatest singers of the 20th century, known for his smooth voice and stage presence. After his death at the age of 86, his daughter spoke out about her father's final days, suggesting that his final wife, Barbara, had something to do with his death. Is this true? Let's delve deeper into this untold story to find out. Before revealing what Sinatra's daughter said, let's learn about Sinatra's history and upbringing to get the most comprehensive overview of him. American singer and actor Frank Sinatra went by several stage names, including Old Blue Eyes and the chairman of the board. He was a huge star in the mid-20th century entertainment industry. In a tenement at 415 Monroe Street in Hoboken, New Jersey, on December 12, 1915, Francis Albert Sinatra kissed the son, Antonino Martino. Marty Sinatra, better known as Marty O'Brien, was a boxer, and Natalina Dolly Garaventa was an immigrant from Italy. He was their only child. Sinatra was born weighing 13.5 pounds, 6.1 kilograms, and he suffered lifelong scars from a ruptured eardrum, extensive scarring on his left face and neck, and the need for forceps during his delivery. His grandma splashed cold water over him until he gasped for air, and it was enough to revive him. He was baptized in Hoboken's St. Francis Church on April 2, 1916, after his injuries had healed. His neck was severely scarred from a mastoid bone procedure when he was a kid, and he got even more scars from cystic acne when he was a teenager. The Catholic Church was Sinatra's home. Sinatra's mum was full of life and determination. Her son's biographers agree that she had a significant impact in shaping his character and boosting his confidence. Barbara, Sinatra's fourth wife, would go on to accuse Dolly of being violent and frequently hitting her son when he was a kid. Dolly rose to prominence within the Democratic Party and the Hoboken community. Sinatra writer Kitty Kelly claims that in addition to her midwifery duties, she was known as Hat Pin Dolly because she provided an illicit abortion service to Italian Catholic ladies. She was also a gifted interpreter for the locals because of her linguistic skills. Although he was illiterate, Sinatra's father was a bantamweight boxer and commander of the Hoboken Fire Department. He emphasized the significance of a comprehensive education because of his illiteracy. He wanted his kid to go to Hoboken's Stevens Institute of Technology and study civil engineering, so he did just that. As a child, Sinatra would often go to his parents' Hoboken pub to do homework and, on occasion, perform for extra coin. Dolly Sinatra gave her son money to go on social trips and buy nice clothing during the Great Depression. His neighbors said he was the best-dressed youngster in town because of it. When Sinatra was a kid and young man, he was abnormally underweight, and the audience would often make fun of his emaciated physique on stage. His dad had his heart set on him being an engineer, but it seems the kid had other plans. Instead, Sinatra decided to focus on his singing career. To what extent did Frank Sinatra's childhood experiences shape his musical preferences? Maintain your attention to discover out. Sinatra had an interest in music at an early age, particularly big band jazz. He spent his time listening to musicians like Gene Austin, Rudy Vallee, Russ Columbo, and Bob Eberly, while Bing Crosby was his primary musical inspiration. On the occasion of his 15th birthday, his uncle Domenico presented him with a ukulele, which he began playing during family get-togethers. Between the years 1928 and 1931, Sinatra was a student at David E. Rue Jr. High School and A.J. Demarest High School, which was renamed Hoboken High School. During his time at Hoboken High School, he was responsible for organizing bands for school dances. However, he left the school without graduating, having attended for just 47 days before being punished for general rowdiness. Because he wanted to make his mother happy, he enrolled at Drake Business School. Nevertheless, he left after just 11 months. Following the merger of the Jersey Observer and the Jersey Journal, Dolly discovered that her son was employed as a delivery boy at the Jersey Journal, which was also the place of employment for his godfather, Frank Garrick. He then found employment at the Teachin and Lang shipyard, where he worked as a riveter. He started by playing in social clubs in the Hoboken area, and he also performed for free on radio stations around the area, including WOCT and Jersey City. Sinatra was able to secure jobs in New York City so that he could sing for his supper or smoke. Elocution classes were taken by him for $1 each from vocal instructor John Quinlan, who was one of the first people to discover his exceptional vocal range. He took these lessons in order to enhance his speech. Why does the legendary American figure have such a strong understanding of music? Did he read music as a form of academic instruction? In his adolescent years, Sinatra began his career as a professional singer. He was able to learn music by ear, even though he never learned to read music. It was in 1935 that his mother convinced a local singing group, known as the Three Flashes, to allow him to become a member of the group. This was the beginning of his career. Baritone Fred Tamburo recalls that once Frank joined the group, Frank hovered around us like we were gods or something. He also admits that the only reason they recruited him on board was because he possessed a car and could chauffeur the group. Quickly, Sinatra became aware that they were participating in an audition for the Major Beau's amateur hour show. He needed to urge the gang to allow him to go in on the action. With Sinatra, the quartet became known as the Hoboken Four, and Edward Bowes invited them to participate in an audition for the program. They were successful in doing so, as a result of their combined earnings of $12.50 and the 40,000 votes they received. They were awarded the first prize, which was a 6-month contract to play on stage and radio across the United States. Sinatra rose to prominence as the group's main vocalist in a short amount of time, much to the chagrin of his fellow group members, and he took the majority of the attention from the female members of the group. Because the gang was so successful, Bowes repeatedly requested that they come back to him dressed as new people. These identities ranged from the Secaucus Cockamamies to the Bayonne Bacalas. Sinatra was able to secure a position as a singing waiter at the Rustic Cabin, a roadhouse located in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, in 1938. He was paid $15 a week for his services. His first live performance with the ensemble took place during the Dance Parade program, which was broadcast on the WNEW radio station in New York City, which was connected to the Roadhouse station. Sinatra believed that this was the break he had been hoping for, and he boasted to his friends that he would become so famous that no one would ever be able to touch him. This was even though the remuneration was minimal. It was in March of 1939 that Frank Main, a saxophone player who had known Sinatra from his time at the Jersey City radio station What, made arrangements for Sinatra to audition and record his first solo studio song, titled Our Love. After Sinatra performed at the Paramount Theater in New York City in June, bandleader Harry James, who had heard Sinatra sing on a dance parade, signed him to a 2-year contract at a weekly rate of $75. The deal was for 2 years. In July, Sinatra released his first commercial album, titled From the Bottom of My Heart, when he was performing with the James Band musicians. There were fewer than 8,000 copies of the album sold, and subsequent records issued with James up to 1939, such as All or Nothing at All, likewise had poor sales when they were first made available to the public. Sinatra was able to sing 2 tones higher as a result of his vocal training, along with developing a repertoire that included songs such as My Buddy, Willow Weep for Me, It's Funny to Everyone But Me, Here Comes the Night, On a Little Street in Singapore, Sira Barabin, and Every Day of My Life. After Sinatra finished recording, what was the next stage in his career? Your curiosity will be satiated if you continue to watch. Sinatra's frustration with the position of the Harry James Band grew to the point that he felt he was not obtaining the tremendous success and accolades that he desired. As a result, he decided to migrate to the Tommy Dorsey Band. However, in November of 1939, he parted ways with James to take over for Jack Leonard as the lead vocalist of the Tommy Dorsey Band. His pianist and close friend Hank Sanicola had a significant role in convincing him to remain with the group. By performing at the Palmer House in Chicago, Sinatra was able to make $125 per week, and James was able to free him from his performance contract. Starting the concert with Stardust, he had his first public appearance with the band on January 26, 1940, at the Coronado Theater in Rockford, Illinois. This was his first public engagement with the band. According to Dorsey, Dorsey was a significant influence on Sinatra and played the role of a father figure to Sinatra. The habits and characteristics of Dorsey were imitated by Sinatra, who became a demanding perfectionist like Dorsey and even adopted his pastime of playing with miniature trains. In June of 1940, he made the request to Dorsey to serve as the godfather of his daughter Nancy. Even while Kelly claims that Sinatra and drummer Buddy Rich were fierce competitors, other sources claim that the two were friends and even housemates when the band was on the road. Sinatra subsequently stated that this was not the case. Despite this, a professional rivalry emerged between the two guys, since they each wanted to be seen as the star of Dorsey's band. In later years, Sinatra assisted Rich in forming his band by providing a loan of $25,000 and also offered financial assistance to Rich throughout the drummer's long and difficult sickness. Over 40 songs were recorded by Sinatra during his first year working with Dorsey and Company. In late April of 1940, Sinatra released the song Polka Dots and Moonbeams, which soon became his first vocal smash. As Sinatra's career and popularity increased, he exerted constant pressure on Dorsey to permit him to record some solo tunes. In the end, Dorsey agreed, and on January 19, 1942, Sinatra recorded Night and Day. The night we called it a day. The song is You and Lamplighter's Serenade at a recording session at Bluebird. Axel Stordahl served as the arranger and conductor for the session. When Sinatra first heard the recordings, he was astonished by how good he sounded. He heard them at the Hollywood Palladium and the Hollywood Plaza. Stordahl noted that he just did not understand what he was hearing. You were almost under the impression that he had never recorded before since he was so thrilled. In my opinion, this was a pivotal moment in his professional life. I believe that he started to realize what he could do on his own. This seems to be a large number of people. You are the only one who can make that courageous move. And believe me when I say that the pinnacle of your accomplishment will blow your mind. Following the recordings that were made in 1942, Sinatra was convinced that he wanted to go solo because he had an unquenchable drive to compete with Bing Crosby. However, he was handicapped by his contract, which provided Dorsey with 43% of Sinatra's profits throughout his lifetime. After that, a court fight started, which reached its conclusion in August of 1942. According to reports, Dorsey's farewell to Sinatra took place on September 3, 1942, when he reportedly said, "I hope you fall on your ass." Despite this, he displayed a more cordial demeanor on the radio when Frank Sinatra was replaced by the vocalist Dick Hames. Some rumors began to circulate in newspapers that Willie Moretti, Sinatra's godfather in the criminal underworld, threatened Dorsey with a gun to force him to release Sinatra from his contract in exchange for a few $1,000s. Stordahl was offered $650 a month by Sinatra, which was 5 times his income from Dorsey. Sinatra was successful in convincing Stordahl to come with him and become his arranger. Despite the fact that they had been so close, Dorsey and Sinatra were never able to reconcile their disagreements. In order to have a better understanding of Frank Sinatra's personal life and relationships, let's first take a look at his cinematic career. Continue to see the clip of career. The year 1942 marked the beginning of his solo career, during which he became an immediate celebrity as the king of the Bobby Soxers. Through the support of young ladies and girls, he rose to become the most popular singer of the era among those who were interested in music for teenagers. The beginning of his career in the film industry was also taking place at that time. He had previously appeared in a few low-budget films, but it was his leading performance in Anchors Aweigh, alongside Gene Kelly, that brought him the most success at the box office. This picture was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture in 1946. During the year 1945, Sinatra was honored with a special Academy Award for his performance in the short film The House I Live, which was a protest against bigotry. Sinatra's career reached its pinnacle in 1949 when he once again collaborated with Gene Kelly in the MGM musical On the Town and Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Sinatra's career was on a solid footing, and he continued to thrive in the recording, theater, and film industries. The scandalous public affair that he had with the movie siren Ava Gardner caused his marriage to Nancy Barbato Sinatra to end, which in turn hurt his career and was responsible for the decline in record sales. Even though he continued to perform in less significant films like Meet Danny Wilson, a vocal cord hemorrhage ultimately brought an end to his career. However, he battled back, and in the end, he was able to secure a role in From Here to Eternity, that he had been aching for all along Maggio. After winning an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, he went on to provide a mesmerizing performance as a cold-blooded assassin who was hired to kill the President of the United States under mysterious circumstances in the year 1954. A nomination for an Academy Award in the category of Greatest Actor was bestowed upon him for his portrayal of a pitiful heroin addict in the critically acclaimed drama The Man with the Golden Arm. This performance is considered to be his career's greatest performance. Sinatra was an instinctual performer who was best at portraying roles that represented his personality. He was known as One-Take Charlie because of his style of acting, which consisted of striving for spontaneity and energy rather than perfection. Over the course of his career, he proceeded to provide powerful and unforgettable performances in films such as Guys and Dolls and The Joker is Wild, and Some Came Running in 1958. Sinatra became a somewhat active producer throughout the latter half of the 1950s and the 1960s, releasing several films, including A Hole in the Head, Sergeants 3, and Robin and the Seven Hoods, which had a great deal of commercial success. It was very lucrative for him to play lighter roles alongside his Rat Pack colleagues Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr., particularly in the renowned Ocean's 11 1960. On the other hand, he alternated these kinds of ventures with considerably more serious ones, such as The Manchurian Candidate 1962, which is considered by many critics to be Sinatra's most impressive film. During the World War, he made his debut as a filmmaker with the film None But the Brave, which was the first film created in collaboration between Japan and the United States. In the same year, Von Ryan's Express 1965 saw tremendous success at the box office. The Naked Runner, directed by Sidney J. Furie and released in 1967, was Sinatra's only film to be shot in both the United Kingdom and Germany. In this picture, Sinatra once again played the role of an assassin that he had previously played. In the same year, he played the character of a private investigator in the film Tony Rome, a job that he did again in the sequel Lady in Cement, which was released in 1968. Alongside Lee Remick, he also had a role in the film The Detective, which was a groundbreaking picture for its time since it dealt with the subject of murders involving wealthy and powerful homosexual men. The film was a huge financial success at the box office. Did he persevere in his acting? Maintain your attention to discover out. Sinatra did not return to the acting world for 7 years after his performance in the comedic western Dirty Dingus McGee in 1970, which was met with negative reviews. He made his acting comeback with the film A Made-for-TV Cops and Mob Guy's thriller Contract on Cherry Street in 1977, while also producing the film. The film, which was based on the novel written by William Rosenberg, featured an outstanding cast and was a huge hit in terms of ratings. The story was about police officers who became vigilantes against the mob. Sinatra made his comeback to the big screen in the 1980 film production of Deadly Sin, in which he once again played the role of a New York detective. His performance was both emotional and subdued, and it served as an appropriate conclusion to his career as a leading man. In 1987, he gave his final acting role in Magnum P.I. 1980, which was his final appearance on the big screen. He also made a cameo appearance in Cannonball Run 2 for the second time in 1984. In an episode named Laura, he played the role of a retired police officer who was pursuing vengeance on the individuals responsible for the murder of his granddaughter. Are you aware that the legendary figure has engaged in 4 different marriages? Come along with us as we investigate his marriage and the scandalous things that have occurred in relation to his nuptials. Frank Sinatra was famous for his legendary profession as well as his personal life, which made headlines often. The famed singer of My Way, who passed away in 1998 at the age of 82, had a career that included several notable women. According to the Washington Post, he was once engaged to both the actress Lauren Bacall and the dancer Juliette Prowse simultaneously. However, the blue-eyed star was able to go down the aisle 4 times during his lifetime, despite the fact that he had broken engagements on 4 separate occasions. It was reported by the New York Times that Sinatra married Nancy Barbato, a secretary whom he had first met when he was a teenager. At the time of their marriage, Sinatra was a young man in his early 20s. After being married in 1939, the newlyweds were so financially strapped that they went back to their low-paying occupations immediately after the ceremony. They had no money left over. The Post reports that Mrs. Sinatra was a devoted wife who was excellent at preparing her husband's favorite Italian dishes and handmade pies. She was also recognized for her exceptional cooking skills. It was reported that her husband had affairs with other women, including beautiful Hollywood starlets like Lana Turner, Marilyn Monroe, and Angie Dickinson, as his celebrity increased. Her husband's flings with other women had also increased. Sinatra and his first wife were blessed with 3 children via their union: Nancy Jr., Frank Jr., and Tina. However, in 1951, they decided to end their marriage and divorce. Barbato passed away in 2018 at the age of 101. During the year 1951, Sinatra tied the knot with Ava Gardner. The second time he walked down the aisle, he did not spend any time doing so. Following the dissolution of his first marriage, he wed the stunning actress Ava Gardner exactly 1 week later. In accordance with the Daily Mail, the famous pair tied the knot on November 7, 1951, in Philadelphia, and then went on to spend their honeymoon in Miami and Cuba. A passionate romance had been going on between the two during the time that Sinatra was married to Barbato, according to the Showbiz cheat sheet. The succeeding 6 years of their marriage were marked by such a high level of instability that Gardner declined to have children with his partner. According to the Mail, Sinatra's daughter Tina once stated that her father had finally found his counterpart in Ava. Even though their marriage did not succeed, Sinatra was utterly heartbroken when Gardner passed away in 1990 at the age of 67, 23 years after they had divorced. Mia Farrow and Frank Sinatra tied the knot in the year 1966. The New York crooner was 48 years old when the Peyton Place actress first met him. She was just 19 years old at the time. According to Showbiz cheat sheet, Sinatra admitted that he had an instant attraction to the young soap actress and that he was immediately taken by her. "That man's hair is to die for. I believe the hair is what drew my attention." During a brief ceremony that took place at the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas on July 19, 1966, the pair tied the knot. Having said that, the marriage was also brief. Sinatra issued Farrow with divorce papers while she was working on the set of her breakthrough picture, Rosemary's Baby, which was being produced 2 years after the couple had exchanged their vows. In a subsequent interview with Vanity Fair, Farrow revealed that Sinatra had a problem with her work throughout their marriage and desired that she not participate in any film productions. If Farrow had chosen to put her profession on hold, she acknowledged that it is likely that the marriage would have been able to endure. Even though Sinatra married another lady in the 1970s, she also made a veiled reference to the fact that she and Sinatra never actually parted ways. Farrow made a veiled reference to the possibility that the famed singer was the father of her son, Ronan Farrow, who was released in 1987. According to a statement that Farrow made to RTE Radio 1 in 2017, she adored Sinatra till the day he passed away and beyond. It was claimed by her that he was the love of her life. Was that Sinatra's final union with another woman? Maintain your attention to discover out, connection with Barbara as a partner. Despite the fact that Sinatra's marriage to Barbara lasted until his death, it was registered in 1998. The longest marriage that Sinatra ever had was his 4th. His final wedding took place in 1976 when he wed Barbara Marx, a model and socialite who was previously married to Zeppo Marx, an actor. According to The Hollywood Reporter, he was the last person to go down the aisle. The couple had their initial encounter in the 1950s, while Sinatra was also married to Gardner. They continued together till Sinatra passed away in 1998 during their time together. According to THR, the celebrity couple established the Frank Sinatra Celebrity Invitational Golf Tournament, as well as the Barbara Sinatra Children's Center at Eisenhower Medical Center. When asked by the Desert Sun about the reason why her marriage to Sinatra was successful when others were not, Barbara Sinatra responded by saying that she attempted to examine the situation. According to what she mentioned, "I believe it is because we were friends before anything romantic occurred. He would call and talk, but it wasn't until much later that things became amorous. It is something that you are unable to adequately describe why or how it occurred." She informed the outlet that she did not accept Farrow's allegations that her late husband may have fathered her son Ronan in the 1980s. She referred to the tale as false and a load of crap. The reports of Sinatra's adultery later in life were a source of concern for her. Last but not least, Mrs. Sinatra passed away in 2017 due to natural causes at the age of 90. Now, what information did Nancy Sinatra, Sinatra's youngest daughter, divulge? Death of Sinatra. Nancy Sinatra, the daughter of Frank Sinatra, has broken her silence on her father's passing, therefore disclosing some disturbing findings from her investigation. She said that she was not informed of her father's illness until after he had died away. And the reason for this was that her stepmother, Barbara, did not inform her about the situation. In her statement, Nancy expressed her deepest sorrow and sadness over the fact that she was not present with her father in his dying moments. She referred to this as her biggest sadness. In the latter years of his life, Sinatra was plagued by several health issues, including heart and breathing problems, high blood pressure, pneumonia, and bladder cancer. He was regularly admitted to the hospital for treatment of these conditions. Following a heart attack that occurred in February of 1997, he did not make any public appearances. The last time he had been seen in public was in January 1997, when he suffered his first heart attack. However, his wife Barbara had informed the Las Vegas Sun that he was doing well only 1 month before he passed away. She stated that the rumors were completely absurd. "You are unable to believe him. It is going nicely for him. Despite his strength, he is moving around. We are having a good time becoming pals." After suffering yet another heart attack, Sinatra passed away at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles on the evening of May 14, 1998. His wife Barbara was at his side at the time of his passing. It was the year 82 for him. When efforts were being made to stabilize Sinatra, Barbara actively urged him to continue fighting. She also said that his dying words were, "I'm losing." After some time had passed, Tina Sinatra, Sinatra's daughter, stated that she and her siblings had not been informed of their father's final hospitalization, and she suspected that this suppression had been intentional. It would be Barbara, the bereaved widow, who would be by her husband's side all by herself. The night after Sinatra passed away, the lights on the Empire State Building were turned blue. The lights on the Las Vegas Strip were dimmed in his honor, and the casino stopped spinning for 1 minute. All of these things were done in his honor. During the time of his passing, Billboard reported that record sales all over the world had significantly increased. A funeral service for Sinatra was held on May 20, 1988, at the Church of the Good Shepherd in Beverly Hills, California. There were 400 mourners there, while thousands of admirers were present outside the church gates. The mourners, who included a large number of persons from the film and entertainment industries, were addressed by Gregory Peck, Tony Bennett, and F. Parank Jr., Sinatra's son, during the funeral. Sinatra was laid to rest wearing a blue business formal suit. His cemetery, which was located at Desert Memorial Park in Cathedral City, California, was adjacent to the graves of his parents and was ornamented with souvenirs from members of his family. The best is yet to come, as the memorial plaque that was erected on Sinatra's humble tomb also included the names of his adored husband and father. As of the year 2021, Sinatra's gravestone was altered to say, "After his death, initial reports about Sinatra's death noted that his children were also by his side when he took his final breath." This information was reported by the publication Palm Springs Life. It turns out that these were not true. Tina Sinatra and Nancy Sinatra, Sinatra's children, came out to clarify the facts about what had on that evening. When asked about her stepmother Barbara, Nancy subsequently stated, "We were only 5 minutes away from the hospital when we found out that he had passed away just a few minutes earlier." Tina Sinatra, Frank's other daughter, also went up about the scandal that surrounded her father's death, revealing more about the dynamics of the family as well as the friction that existed between them and Barbara. Nancy continued, "The demise of Frank Sinatra was a difficult and traumatic moment for his family despite their best efforts. What was President Bill Clinton's reaction to the news that Frank Sinatra had passed away? Hearing the news of the passing of Frank Sinatra, a musical legend and an emblem of the United States of America, left Hillary and I in a state of profound sadness. Fans began to refer to him as the Voice at an early stage in his lengthy career. This was the first thing that the American public noticed about Frank Sinatra. His amazing voice, which was both powerful and nuanced, wisecracking and mournful, and streetwise, yet ultimately charming. As time went on, he developed into a much more complete person. Whether he was performing on stage or screen, Sinatra was a mesmerizing performer who appeared in comedies, dramas, and musicals. One of the most influential record labels in the world was established by him. Not only has he been honored with a multitude of accolades, including the Grammy Award 9 times, the Academy Award, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom, but he has also devoted his life to the advancement of humanitarian causes. I had never had the opportunity to meet Frank Sinatra before I became president, even though I was a huge fan of his music. I had the opportunity to get to know him a little bit when he became president, to have dinner with him, and to appreciate on a personal level what supporters all around the globe, including myself, loved from a distance. His songs and movies will ensure that the old blue eyes of Frank Sinatra will never be forgotten, even though millions of people all over the world will express their terrible loss. At this moment, every single American would be required to smile and claim that he did it his way. Our thoughts and prayers are with Barbara, Frank's wife, and his children, Nancy, Frank Jr., and Tina. We would like to extend our sympathies to all of them. They are in our thoughts and prayers today. Despite their long-running animosity, Sinatra's loved ones made every effort to honor the late singer with a burial befitting his illustrious life. In Sinatra's coffin, loved ones laid his cherished possessions: a bottle of Jack Daniels, Tootsie Rolls, Camel cigarettes, and a Zippo lighter. Tina allegedly put 10 dimes in his pocket since the artist never left home without spare cash for his phone. Frank Sinatra was one of the most beloved singers in American history, and that is his legacy, regardless of the controversy that surrounded his death. Frank Sinatra was in the 20th century, according to U2 lead singer Bono, who commented on the singer's death. He has a contemporary, sophisticated, swinging, and attitude-filled personality. Even though he was the boss, Frank Sinatra was always there. Do you love and feel sympathy for this late artist? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more interesting updates. Thank you and see you in the next